Well, visibility is even poorer than yesterday. Don't always get lucky with the views, but this is Dunadd Hillfort. There's a sheep on the hill. Well, this is the view you would normally get. Looks like some kind of gate in the rock. Wow. Oh, this is hard to read. That gap is probably easily defensible. I think there's supposed to be houses left over. Just, that looks like one square edge of a house. So I'm en route to the well. It seems to have a slab, stone slab on top of it. And there's a way up. There we are, footsteps of the kings. It looks like it could have been an earlier footstep as well. And here's something else. This is the carving of an animal. A boar. We'll find that in a second. So here's the boar carving. You can see it, more or less. And this is a citadel, right at the very top. Yeah. It's a bit of a wall left over. That's quite a big space here. Definitely looks like traces there as well. That looks like a wall, some kind of shape there. There's plenty going on down there. So we're on the way down, and this is the break in the rock from the other side, and you can see so well how it can be used as a defensive feature. So this narrow entrance into this wider bottom section, which then connects to the stuff on the top, the Citadel, the stone of the kings. And we're still steeped in fog. You can see a little bit. So we are visiting some standing stones now. So here's a little story. There's some souterrains, chamber cairns. And the sun is coming out, so that's hopeful. I always love spider webs that are covered in droplets. This one has cut marks on it. That's a massive stone. You can see the cut marks here. There. And of course this is the view of all the stones kind of lined up. So we're on our way to Templewood stone rings. Oh wow. And this is an interesting looking place. It's hard to get it all in one picture. This is the big burial monument. It's quite impressive that people would build such a massive thing just to bury somebody. And then the burial chamber is right in the middle. You can see it pretty well from the air. And this is walking in somebody's grave. And then there's another one over there. And there's a cairn, burial cairn is over there, a mound. Here's an interesting detail, there's a pit in that stone. I wonder if that means anything. My partner is being respectful and not going into the tomb. So do you think this would have been a mound like the other one? Do you think it's fallen apart, or do you...
Well, I know that from the information board, I think it says that the stone circle is Neolithic, but the all of the wee stones in the burial chamber and everything, that's Bronze Age.
I see. So they've used the stone circle to make a tomb in the middle. Oh, they have a little ceremony going on here. Touch the sky. So one of these stones has a spiral on it then. Maybe I should go back and try to find that. But we'll maybe look at this one first. So this looks a little bit different. It's lacking the stone circle for sure. And somebody put a pumpkin on top. Well, I walked around the whole entire back and front of the stones and I just couldn't find any markings, so I can't show them to you wherever they are. I think they may be just too weathered at this stage. And now we're coming up to Nether Largy South Cairn. Gonna have a look around that and then gonna make our way back across the field. There's one lonely standing stone there. Gonna go past that. But once we've seen that, we're gonna move on and go to Oban. It's a scheduled monument. From the air, I could see two chambers, so I'll try to find them both. A little bit of exploration. You can see right through to the other end. Should I go inside? Well, here we are, inside a burial chamber, hoping that it will not collapse. There's a big stone. Wow. Oh God. You know what? I actually dropped my drone battery here at Stone Temple Ring because I was too hasty. It's the full one as well, my last full battery. Oh, I hurried back, I tell you. That's a bit of a fright for me. Don't want to lose any batteries. So now that we've visited all of these places, I think maybe we're going to go and see that single stone in the field there. And then more adventure. There we are, one lonely standing stone. Let's see if there's anything on it. Not from what I can see. So the other stones are in this direction. And then the Cairns over there. Driving to Oban for over 1 hour was absolutely worth it. Or should I say Dunstaffnage, because we are now going to Dunstaffnage Castle. I can't get over the view. I think you can see my sandwich. There you go, that's all you're gonna get. is mostly a ruin, but you can get up on the towers. Let me share some of the history of this place with you. Dunstaffnage Castle has medieval origins. It may have been connected to Dunmona, a 7th century stronghold of the Dalriada, the Irish tribe which conquered much of western Scotland and eventually all of it. And there is a legend that the Stone of Destiny was taken here from Ireland before being taken to Scone in 853. But archaeology can't confirm any of these ideas. Kenneth MacAlpin, the king of Dalriada, became the first king of Scotland as a whole, as the Scots conquered the Picts. The Scots were all the people who came over from Ireland, but ended up giving Scotland its name. Yeah, this is the dwelling house. So, here's a fireplace with an interesting carving still left over. This is the kitchen fireplace. It's pretty large. Well, let's look at the chimney. Yeah, you can see all the way up. I wonder if the pigeons live up there. This is from the 18th century, but what did it say about the 14th century?
It was built on top of the 13th century northwest range.
Right.
That means.
Ireland is so close to Argyll that it was only a natural process. Back in the day, it was much easier to access the coasts of Argyll via boats, often coming over from Ireland, than it was to access them from mainland Scotland. In fact, it took us many hours to drive around long sea lochs to even get to Argyll, when taking a ferry across might have saved us a lot of time. One of the towers. But the Scots and Picts weren't the only players in this game. The Norse also had a strong seafaring culture and started to settle around the Scottish Isles in the early 9th century. Almost all of the Scottish Isles were settled by the Norse, as well as Caithness and Sutherland, and even Ireland, as Dublin was famously founded by Vikings. Well, I'm about to go into the gatehouse. Oh. Staircase, window. Oh, you get a bit of a view actually. That view's not so bad. Here's the rest. A fireplace. View inside the castle. Captain's quarters. So that was a very narrow and winding staircase, everything we're used to from a Scottish castle. This room already has a lot more sunlight. Alright, so you're ready to go outside and walk around the wall? Oh, it's the view again. It's the view. It's the view that I can't get over. Oh my god. As mildly annoying as the fog is, it does create a beautiful atmosphere. In 1098, King Edgar of Scotland formally ceded the sovereignty over these regions to King Magnus Barelegs of Norway. However, it was actually a local elite who was ruling here. Unsurprisingly, it was the Galgael, a name which means foreign Gael and denotes a mix between Gaelic and Scandinavian. a man called Somerled, known as King of the Isles, ruled this area by the mid-1100s. His eldest son Dougal founded the MacDougall clan, and his grandson Duncan built Dunstaffnage Castle, starting around 1220. Amazing. I'm gonna get a great view from that side as well. The MacDougalls and the related clans, the MacDonalds and MacRurys, were fighting among themselves as well as against the Norwegian kings, although sometimes they also supported the Norwegian kings against the Scottish kings. Duncan supported King Haakon of Norway against Alexander II of Scotland, who sought to regain power over this area. The conflict stretched over multiple decades, and Alexander III continued his father's efforts. After the death of Haakon, Haakon's successor agreed to the Treaty of Perth in 1266, which returned these lands into the hands of Scotland after 250 years of Norse rule. It's unfortunate that we are not able to see from the other side, because there's just no walkway there. I think the view would have been great. Only the pigeons get to see. Duncan's son Ewan had sided with the Scots to retain his power. Rather than being the Lord of the Isles, the MacDougalls now became the Lords of Argyll. Argyll became a shire, and Ewan's son became its first sheriff in 1293. During the Wars of Independence, the MacDougalls had sided against the family of Robert the Bruce, and thus Robert the Bruce ended up attacking Argyll and besieging Dunstaffnage Castle. And despite the MacDougalls asking Edward II of England for help, the castle was captured and the MacDougalls' power lost. The castle remained in royal hands for 150 years with different keepers, but in 1463, Colin Campbell, the first Earl of Argyll, was made keeper, and the Campbells would live here and take care of it from now on. The Campbells were Protestants and loyal to the government. From this castle, the Scottish government would launch attacks against rebellious Islesmen, most notably the MacDonalds. During the Jacobite uprisings, the castle was captured and set on fire, but soon the Campbells regained it and imprisoned Flora MacDonald, a local woman who had helped Bonnie Prince Charlie escape by dressing him in women's clothes. After having been used as a residence for centuries, a devastating fire in 1810 made it impossible to live in. It was only restored in the 1910s by the 20th Captain, a hereditary title of the keepers of the castle. This captain, however, became a prisoner of war during the First World War, and in his absence, the roof of his new house collapsed. Repairs were made on his return, but the desire to restore the castle waned over time, and in 1958, his successor entrusted it into state care. A mystic guard chamber. That's a tiny, tiny chamber. Here's the coach house, and we're gonna go look for the chapel, which is in the woods. You can go inside. And this part is cordoned off. I'm gonna give you the full view